Hi folks, Adam again. I don't care if you're in education, if you're in the business world, or you're just a regular human being, one of the most difficult and time-consuming things we deal with on a daily basis is email. And I know that there's this elusive monster we can't quite find called Inbox Zero, which a lot of people strive for, but very few people can actually achieve. But I think that we've got some good tips and tricks with the new Gmail user interface. It's now just a little bit easier to try to get a little closer to Inbox Zero. So there's a few things we're going to talk about in this video that will hopefully get you to that goal. The first thing is the archive button, and I'm going to go through and sort of explain how the archive button works and how you can set that up to make it work for you. The second thing is a website called UnrollMe, which will see all of the subscriptions you're applied to with that particular email address and can help you manage that and keep those things from filling up your inbox. The third thing is to use tasks, which we've already sort of talked about in the user interface, but I'm going to show you a little bit about how that can keep your email process moving a little bit more quickly. And the fourth thing I want to talk about is a mindset change. How do you handle email when it comes in? How do you handle that part of your life? And hopefully with a little bit of a mindset change and a cool extension that I think that you'll like, we can try to get a little bit closer to Inbox Zero. So let's dive in and see how close we can get. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the archive button, and this is a great sort of hidden gem in Gmail. But if you're looking at the way you've set up your inbox, you might have it any number of ways. I have it so unread is on top, and then certain categories down below, and then everything else is down at the bottom. What you'll see with your inbox is that all these emails are coming in. And a lot of people want to save them, but not necessarily in folders. If you applied a label to every single email you wanted to save, you'd be labeling everything all day, and you'd have a million labels on the left-hand side. I'm not saying labels are bad. I'm just saying that sometimes we overdo it with labels. So let's maybe cool it a little bit with the labels and just archive emails, because that search bar at the very top of your page is probably more useful than searching through your labels. But what you'll want to do is get these things out of your inbox, but still save them within your all mail list. So we're just going to grab this email right here. This is from Google Photos. It says, hey, finish setting up your Google Photos account. If I open up this email, again, we have our little row of icons at the very top of the page. The first one is the archive button. And if you hit that archive button, what that's going to do is remove this email from your inbox. Now you'll notice it's not in unread anymore. And it's also not in my everything else, but I can still find it. If I search Google Photos, the most recent one that pops up is that email we just looked at, Vic finishing up your Google Photos account. So you can still find it in the search. The other way you can still find things in your archive is by searching all mail. And if you look up all mail, then you'll see the first one that's in there, or one that's near the top, is that Google Photos email. So it's not been deleted, it's also not been labeled, but it's not in your inbox, which means you can always come back to it, and you're getting a little bit closer to cleaning your inbox out and reaching Inbox Zero. So the archive button is really handy, and again, in the new Google interface, just by simply hovering over an email, you have the archive button first. So you can obviously drop it in your archive without even looking at it, and it's still there, it won't be deleted, but it's not going to clutter up your inbox. So that is a great tool. One more thing I'll add to the archive button is if you go to Settings, and in your General Settings, once these load, about partway down, there's an option to turn on Send and Archive. If you turn on Send and Archive, it says show the Send and Archive button or hide in a reply. So what that means, I'm going to turn show on so you can see this, and I'm going to go down and I'm going to save my settings. So I'm going to save my changes here. Once my email loads back up, I've got another security alert here. Let's say I want to reply to this. So if I open up the email and I hit reply, what you'll notice now is down below, I now have a Send and Archive button. So what that'll do, it'll reply to the email, but it'll also take this original and put it in my archive, so it's out of my inbox. Again, this is a great way to keep things from cluttering. When you've replied and you're done with it and you're waiting for a response, it's out of your inbox and it's in your all mail list. So adding that Send and Archive button is really, really handy. Use your archive button as much as you can. Again, if these things don't have attachments to them, the emails don't, then you're not going to worry about storage. You could store everything in your archive and get back to it if you need to without having to clutter up your inbox, getting you a little bit closer to Inbox Zero. So the second thing I want to talk about is a website called UnrollMe, and this is going to be a great resource for limiting the number of subscriptions that you have that come into your email. So we're going to go to UnrollMe, and this is it is an ad-based service, and they do ask you to share on Facebook or someplace like that so that they can continue to get hits and things. But for the most part, it's free. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Once I go to UnrollMe, get started now, it is going to ask me which account I want to apply this to, and I've already done this, so it skipped that portion, but you'll want to use your Gmail account for this particular case. And it will ask you, it does ask for permission to manage your emails, and in this case we do want to say yes, you can read the terms of service if you're not sure about it, but it is something that's been recommended and suggested, so that's why I'm putting it on here. So what you'll notice is that it sees, first of all, a few groups, and it says, think about rolling these up. And basically, UnrollMe will allow you to either totally unsubscribe from subscriptions, it will allow you to keep them as they are already, or it will take the ones that you say and put them in a roll-up, which is basically a group of emails that it'll send you one email a day that is a summary of those rolled up subscriptions. So you may get an email from them every single day, and it'll be in that roll-up. Or you might get 4 or 5. Some of these will send you multiple emails every day, and that seems like a lot, which is why this can be really helpful. So if you scroll down, you'll see all of your subscriptions are listed alphabetically. I do want to keep Alice Keeler and Matt Miller's as they come into my inbox every day because I like to see those every day. Same thing with Midwest Education, METC. I want to get those every day. I don't necessarily want Ed Week. I think that Ed Week is good, but it's not something I want to read every single day, so I'm going to add this to the roll-up. So I'll still get those emails, but they will not come in separately every single day. It'll be in one bulk email from UnrollMe. If I scroll down a little bit, I know that I don't want Full Sail University because I'm not using that right now, so I'm going to unsubscribe from them. This was one I don't even recognize, so I'm going to unsubscribe that as well. If there's something that I decide now or down the road that I need to resubscribe to, I can always do that. But this is a great way to start to narrow things down. So, like I said, once this one saw 52 email subscriptions this time. I actually had 78 when I started this process, so I've been kind of going through and cleaning things out slowly. But again, this would be a great thing to sit down, spend about 10 minutes, go through your subscriptions, and get that much closer to a clean inbox. So the third thing I want to talk about to try to minimize the amount of junk that you've got in your email inbox is to use Gmail's tasks bar. And we've already talked about how this is really a helpful tool. But if you use this in conjunction with your archive button, you're going to be able to keep track of your to-do list in a much more easy way. So let's turn on our tasks button over here on the right-hand side. And you'll notice we've looked at this already. It comes up as a list of tasks. So instead of keeping things in your inbox and using that as your to-do list, which is I'm totally guilty of, I definitely use my inbox as a to-do list. If there are unread emails or read emails at the top of the list, I use that as an inbox. The problem is that it gets confused with things I don't have to do. So if you use your tasks on the right-hand side and the really handy Tasks app, Google Tasks has revamped the whole process, and the app is now available on iPhone and Android, and it is just super simple and clean and does connect with your email. So if I get this email here, this IFT one about I want to boost my productivity, but I don't want to look at it right now. I want to look at this later. I can click on the More button at the top and hit Add to Tasks. That's going to add this email to the right. And now I can add a deadline, like we said already, and change the title maybe, or just say, look at this. You can add, it's got a deadline, and it has a link already to the email itself. So once it's added to my tasks list, I can now archive that email, and it's gone. It's not in my inbox. My inbox is cleaner, but the task is over there on the right so I can keep track of it. So using the new taskbar is simple and clean, and put it on your iPhone or your Android device and be able to keep up with your tasks that way. So again, we're cleaning out our email inbox and we're adding things to tasks and keeping a to-do list that is not our inbox. If we change that mindset, things will be better. The last thing I want to talk about in this video is how to sort of change your mindset to maximize the amount of time that you spend using your email or going through your email in order to try to reach that inbox zero. And the way to do it is to keep from checking email. Let's wipe that word out of our vocabulary. We're no longer going to check email. We're going to process email. And what that means is we're going to, instead of checking it every 5 minutes or sitting down if you're a teacher between classes and checking your email, what you need to do is set aside time to process your email and do it that way. And so that you sort of have a management system as opposed to it. Sometimes they come in, sometimes I check them, sometimes I forget to respond. Process every email that's in. And again, this is a hard thing to do, but it's a good mindset. And one way to do that, to keep yourself from checking email all the time, is to actually shut off your email inbox or hide your email inbox. And again, you can do that while keeping your inbox open if necessary. And the way I'm going to show you how to do that is to add an extension called Inbox When Ready for Gmail. So I'm going to go to the Chrome Web Store here. So if you just search Chrome Web Store, you will pull up, it's always the top one of the Google search. You'll be able to pull up the Chrome search here, and I'm going to put in Inbox When Ready. And again, this is one that I've tried. It's gotten really good reviews, and I'm a big fan of it. There are other options, so you can try others. This is just the one that I have used in the past. So I'm going to add this one to Chrome, and when you add an extension, again, it downloads and it installs it for you. So it says your inbox is now hidden by default. And if I go over to my inbox, it's loading my Gmail. It's going to show up here as hidden. Now, you'll notice I have no emails, although I clearly have lots of emails. So what this has done is simply added a tiny button up at the top that says Show Inbox. So I've hidden it. This keeps me from checking my email. Now, obviously, if you still get email notifications on your phone, you'll notice those. It might be harder to ignore. But if you sit down for a couple minutes at your computer and you have something you need to do, oftentimes I find myself checking my email first, then doing that process. This will keep you from doing that. And if you just simply click Show Inbox, all of your inboxes will show up, and you click Hide Inbox, and your inbox will be hidden again. So again, using some extensions, adding some mindset changes, instead of checking your email all the time, process your email. Sit down and handle every single email that comes in. Either reply and say, I'll look at it, add it to your to-do list, and then archive. Delete it right away, send it on to someone else, delegate to another person, or handle it, respond, and figure it out right then and there. It's going to help you keep your inbox clean. If you use this as your primary modes of communication within your district, tell your district to start using other tools like Google Hangouts, which you can get notifications on your phone or on your computer. If somebody needs you immediately, a Hangout might be the better way to do that. You could use text messages, but email is such a large part of our lives that we need to start delegating and communicating in other ways other than just email. Hopefully that helps you guys get a little bit closer to a completely clean inbox and reach inbox zero, which is something I'm still striving for, but these tips are really going to help. So hopefully this will make your email life just a little bit easier.